We'll call Brad.
Oh, okay, thank
Okay,
you.
wait, come on in. You just stand right here.
There's fine to see, they're right outside.
All right. Hey, I need you all to keep it down out here, okay?
Okay. It's Monday, June the 26th, 2023. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and Kerr County Commissioners Court is now in session. Who has prayer?
Number 2.
You do? If you would please rise for prayer and vote, led by Commissioner Davis.
Heavenly Father, bless this gathering today. Grant us your wisdom and help us see the full truth and guide us in our decisions for the people of Kerr County. We thank you for all of the blessings you bestowed upon us, and especially for your gifts of rain and the beauty of this hill country. Lord, please keep our first responders safe and protect our children from all threats. Help all who are struggling due to this recession and high inflation, and deliver us from all evil and tyranny. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Please turn your cell phones off or vibrate, so as not to interrupt the proceedings. First item of business is public input. I see we've got at least one public input here. I'm looking at the list here. I've got one that says public comment, and that's Lily Beard.
I've got one also.
So I've got.
You have to sign it.
I
You
signed.
say against and for, those are on the agenda items.
I'm not on an agenda item. I filled out a form.
I had duplicates. I apologize. I had to, you're going to be on there twice.
Oh,
I've got two unknowns. One is Kristen Ledry. Is she?
yes, sir.
And George Rude. Saw him come in somewhere.
Yeah.
We really can't have people standing in the aisles here. Sheriff, you would?
All right. Hey, you're going to step out. I guess you can watch it on your phone.
There's
Sorry.
one seat right up front here. There's somebody.
That's Jody's. Excuse me, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
That's co-coordinators. She goes in and out. And Bob and Nadine will make an exception for you. We need all in here. Okay, so I have three.
Albert, make sure it stays down here.
I've got a bunch on item 1.1, for and against. And then I've got three. One is public input, Lily Beard. One is unknown, Kristen Lutford. And one is unknown, George Rude. Those will be public comments. We ask that you identify yourself by name and address, and limit your remarks to less than 3 minutes or less. You may proceed.
At the podium,
Yes, that's Cody.
this lady?
Just please state your name.
I'm Lily Beard,
Okay.
120 Via Vista Drive, Kerrville. And I saw this article in the paper, which I'm sure all of you have seen. This was an outstanding article about Harley Blue. I've talked to Harley myself about this whole situation, and I thoroughly believe that he thought that everything was fine when he finished his probation, and that everybody had told him, his attorney and stuff had told him everything was fine. He's a good man. He's done very well for the Commissioner's Court. And it's a shame that he's being, I think for politics, bullied out and has chosen not to run again. The court is going to miss a very good man, and he believes in the people in his district, and he works for us. I'm in his district. And I think it's a shame that people get up here and bully him and try to shame him into resigning right away. And doing all of this when the man thoroughly believes that when his probation was over, everything else was over. And I don't see why he's being chosen to show an example of, I'll say, having to go to court and hiring an attorney. And I just think that the people of Kerr County is going to really lose a good man when they lose Harley off of this commissioner's court. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Kristen Budry.
Thank you. Giving to the commissioners.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Kristen Mudry. My address is 105 Liz Run in Kerrville. I live in Kerr County, not in the city, out Medina Highway. And I'm here today to issue an invitation to you. Don't worry, there's no bite in this. It's an invitation to a talk that I'm presenting to the community on July 13th. It's Thursday, July 13th from 10 to 11 a.m. at the Dietert Center. It's free and it's open to the community. I'm the Kerr County Greeters Welcome Lady. 10 years ago, I took over the reins of the Kerr County Greeters Welcome Program that's existed in our community for decades, and I've spent the majority of my time in the last 10 years bringing free welcome baskets and personally welcoming new members of the community, usually in their homes. This has given me a unique perspective on a segment of our community, namely who is moving here, why are they moving here, how are they managing to live here, what brings them here. The talk that I give is based on statistical analysis of my 10 years of welcoming approximately 500 newcomer families each year. So now that I have about a little under 5,000 families that I've personally welcomed, that gives me a special perspective on trends and observations about our community. So because you, the Kerr County Commissioners, you're all about Kerr County, and I am too in my small special way, I'd like to warmly invite you to attend this free talk, and this is open to anyone else who would like to attend. I've put additional, gave invitations to each of you, and I've left additional ones up front. Again, this is Newcomer Trends in Kerr County, a 10-year look back presented by Kristen Mudry, the Welcome Lady with Kerr County Greeters. Thursday, July 13th from 10 to 11 at the Dietert Center located 451 Guadalupe Street. It'll be followed by a brief ribbon cutting honoring my 10th anniversary. Anyone's welcome to stay for that. The first 50 people who attend, I'll give a free lunch ticket to that they ask for the day of until they run out. Thank you for allowing me to present this to you today. Y'all have a blessed day.
Next is George Baruti.
Please, outside.
George.
Go. Okay. George Baruti. So I saw the person talking with the article in their hand. So just want to clarify one thing. So I'm here to talk about the article and the disenfranchisement of voters in Precinct 1. The article had the headline wrong. I'm not here advocating for a specific Commissioner Ballou. I'm actually advocating for the right of the voters to elect their officials. And basically this court's sitting idly by while this is occurring is kind of an affront to the voters themselves. Basically, in particular, Commissioner Ballou was elected at a properly held election, and no subsequent act of disqualification has occurred that anybody has reported, and therefore he's qualified to hold office. To have the judge say that he's done something serious, yeah, potentially there is something serious, but to say that he could be potentially removed for this is just blatantly false. It's incorrect. And I would ask that the court correct that statement. You can shake your head if you like, sir, but there is no law that says that a person can be removed for acts happening prior to election. And if you want to attempt to charge somebody for lying or not on a form, you can do that, but the act of challenging that application has long since passed. And to do what's going on right now is to essentially disenfranchise the voters in Precinct 1, and essentially, if I'm understanding things correct, the vacancy that potentially would be created falls on one person, as I understand it. And that is another affront to the voters. We voted. If we want to remove somebody that's an elected official, we have the ability to do that. Nobody else has the right to administratively remove any one of the elected officials that are here. And to have that continue to go on is, like I say, a little disturbing. I would urge the court, like I say, to retract the statements that were made before. It is creating a sense of integrity issue of this court. People are making the claim that, oh, the votes, the actions taken by the court are challengeable now. They're not. Somebody can challenge them, but they're not going to end up doing it based on disqualifying any one of you. You're all qualified to vote, or to be on the court, and should remain so until a recall occurs, or any one of you, as I've showed you before, the three things: incompetence, not showing up, or deciding to go get drunk all the time. And I don't think any one of you has done any of those things. Therefore, leave it to the voters. Thank you.
Okay, those are the three that were not tied to an agenda item. We do have a lot of people that want to speak on item 1.1. So let's move on with the agenda. Commissioners' comments, yes. Precinct 1.
I don't have anything to say.
Precinct 2, there is no burn ban, but going to be looking real hard at it. It's getting awful hot and dry out there. Just Dee Guerrera is working to complete the EDAP wastewater project, so if you need to make a claim or raise an issue, please contact GrantWorks Rosie Daly, 512-957-1465 between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Little update on the road reconstruction. Skyline Drive is progressing. Hope to have that project complete in the next 2 weeks, and hopefully Brandon will commence the Robertson Road reconstruction project somewhere around July 10th. They've already lowered the utility lines, the water lines, so that had to happen before we could tear up the road and reconstruct. For Elm Pass 2, there might be 1 or 2 people here concerned about the Elm Pass reconstruction. We're ordering rock, and that should be taken up after Skyline, so definitely this summer. I want to comment, we did have a session in the last court about parking signs on Kelly Street and Centerpoint. The signs are up. However, we're still seeing people violating the order. So, our sheriff will be watching that, some of his deputies, and I also want to clarify that parking on the north side of Kelly Street must still comply with the law, so that the public knows Texas Transportation Code, Section 545.302 deals with parking and states: an operator may not park an occupied or unoccupied vehicle in front of a public or private driveway, within 15 feet of a fire hydrant, within 20 feet of a crosswalk at an intersection, and within 30 feet on the approach to a flashing signal, stop sign, yield sign, and traffic control signal. So there are still limits where you can park on Kelly Street, regardless of whether there's no parking sign. We've got a meeting planned for Wednesday afternoon with the TxDOT area engineer, Andres Gonzalez, to talk about TxDOT projects that certainly I've put in a request and other people have as well. So everybody's invited to attend that at 3:15 on Wednesday if you want to raise some of your concerns on your projects.
We'll have to post that meeting if we're going to do that.
We can't just meet.
Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Is there time still posted?
What is it?
Wednesday?
No.
Okay. I take it back, but I'm going to have a meeting with Andres, and we'll talk about Precinct 2 projects. Okay, a couple other quick, just so the public's aware. Sandpoint Volunteer Fire Department has its BBQ fundraiser on July 8th, that's Saturday. The Sheriff's Town Hall on human smuggling. Don might have talked about it, but they're going to duplicate what they did in Mountain Home, which was quite successful. That'll be at the Hill Country Youth Event Center on July 11th, 6 p.m. And there will be a Precinct 2 Commissioners Town Hall on July 18th, 6 p.m. at the Centerpoint Elementary Cafeteria, covering a wide range of topics, and I'll put more information out on that later. That's it.
Well, in your prayer you mentioned, thanks for the rain. Maybe in your precinct, I haven't had a problem. I had rain today, thank goodness, and I appreciate that, but June has been pretty bad. And just another comment is that related to the meeting that we're not going to have is important with Tech Stock. I have a meeting with Andres and talking to him about projects in my area as well. I think he's kind of a good probably are as well. So we don't need to meet as a group to talk to him individually, I believe.
Well, customarily they are, not precinct.
No. And the other comment is a little bit to Mr. Brody is I've never said anything publicly about Mr. Blue's dilemma. Other than I think he's done a fine man has done a fine job as commissioner. When he gets into the legal aspect of it, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to get involved with that. I'll leave that up to the attorneys around. That's all I have.
Well, I've spoke about Harley's situation, and I've also advised him to maybe hire George as his defense team. So anyway, to piggyback on something that Commissioner Paces said, summer's here. A lot of people are going to our river crossings, and I have more than my fair share at Precinct 4. Be careful, be mindful of the signs. One big potential hazard is right there on 39 and Ingram Dam. There's a lot of people park on one side of the road and cross. Be mindful when you drive through there. Sometimes those kids get away from mamas or whatever and run out in the road, and it's a potential hazard. So let's watch out and be mindful of the safety aspects there, because the traffic's zipping through there sometimes pretty fast, and those kids come across there out of nowhere almost. Like to see people be mindful of the trash and what have you at these crossings and everywhere. Just pick up behind you. If everybody did that, we'd be a lot better off. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, it's not a potential hazard, it is a hazard. There are short people everywhere, and you gotta watch. It's almost, you almost have to stop and there's some important.
I beg your pardon?
It's attractive nuisance. Water and kids.
Sure.
They're vertically challenged, Your Honor, they're not short. Okay?
I stand corrected. Anything else?
That's it for me.
We'll move on to the consideration agenda, item 1.1. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to schedule a public workshop for Texas First on election integrity the week of August 21. Mr. Paces.
Okay, well, in our last Commissioners Court meeting, the issue came up of whether the hand count method proposed in our last election integrity workshop by Mark Cook is considered a voting system requiring approval and certification by the Secretary of State. And the Secretary of State's office has in fact rendered opinion that the use of calculators with large LED readout screens and cameras overhead to record the hand count, quote, would likely require certification as a voting system, unquote. And look, we simply cannot afford to wait until a voting system is certified by the Secretary of State, especially considering that the Commissioners Court heard on April 10th from Mr. Jarrett Woodward that the Secretary of State certifications issued for Hart InterCivic voting equipment are not valid. As a result, I'm now proposing that Kerr County simply adhere to the process and procedures defined in the Texas Election Code, Chapter 65, for manual counting of paper ballots. There is no certification or approval required, and this method was recently used in the Kerrville City Council election recount. It's also what we did before electronic voting machines, and we certainly had no difficulty finalizing election results shortly after the polls closed on election day. Now, during the proposed workshop, a presentation will again be provided by cybersecurity expert Mark Cook, who presented during the last election integrity workshop. He's basically going to cover the why we should stop using mobile electric voting machines. We'll also have a representative, or perhaps more, from Tally, Texas, who will provide details on why they have petitioned the Secretary of State's office to discontinue the countywide polling program because of numerous issues with voting machines, people receiving the wrong ballots, and no meaningful way to audit what ballot a voter received. And there's more. A demonstration of the Texas Election Code, Chapter 65 manual method for hand counting ballots will also be provided. I'm also working on bringing former county clerk from Mesa County, Colorado, Tina Peters, to tell her story. And if you're not familiar with who Tina Peters is, go to selectioncode.com. Now, during the last workshop, Hart InterCivics representative said, anybody, and I'm quoting, anybody who says something is not hackable is a fool. So anything can be hacked, right? But it takes access to the thing, knowledge, and mostly time to be able to do that, end quote. Also, when questioned, he admitted that Hart imports the motherboards from China. Now, the motherboards are the most critical component of the machines, yet we're unable to inspect them to know if there is a modem embedded in the boards or any other sort of problem. So the question becomes, does anybody trust China? Because I sure don't. Now, the voting machines that we've been using are expensive. They're black boxes. We have no idea whether they're going to give us the correct results or not. We can test them, but they're relatively sophisticated. It's easy to change the program. So I'm not suggesting they have been, but they could have been, and no one would ever know. That's the real point. So instead, hand counting paper ballots per Chapter 65, which should be used in our precinct polling locations on election day, starting 1 hour after the polls open. And that's multiple teams of 4 members, 1 caller, 3 marking tally sheets. It does take a lot of volunteers. I'm looking for a 4 to 5 hour commitment of their time on election day to count our ballots. But I believe that we do have more than enough concerned citizens that are going to be happy to invest that time on election day to restore confidence in our elections and confidence that their vote counted as they intended. Now, we're in the midst of a budget approval cycle, and Bob Reeves has mentioned in the last election integrity workshop that he might be making a request for significant additional funds to upgrade our Hart InterCivic voting machines. I'm not sure if he's still going to do that or not. There is time. He could do it next year. But before making a decision on that expenditure and the use of these machines, it's incumbent on all the members of our court to consider the alternatives, especially anything that will save our taxpayers' money and restore trust in our elections. Now, certainly after researching the issues associated with election integrity, I personally strongly support hand counting, sequentially numbered paper ballots, and saving the taxpayers substantial money by eliminating the use of electronic voting machines, other than the ADA machines that we have to have per the administrative code to accommodate disabled voters. So I'm hoping that other members of the court who require additional information will attend the workshop and make up their mind prior to casting their vote on the purchase of any additional voting equipment. And I think it's also important to recognize that this proposed workshop and hand count demonstration should also be of interest to members of other government and political subdivisions who, under the Texas Election Code, Chapter 123, have the right to choose what voting system or method is used in their elections. And that would apply to Kerrville, Abram, the ISDs, the Republican and Democrat parties for their primary elections, etc. They get to actually choose. Commissioners have authority over the general elections. Okay, now, should the county decide to discontinue the use of Hart InterCivic Verity equipment, go ahead with hand counting, which I advocate, these other subdivisions may still prefer to use electronic voting machines, and they're entitled to. However, they would then have to bear the cost of the equipment, which would be quite significant, especially when upgrades and replacements are required. So I believe that the citizens of Kerr County would greatly benefit from the opportunity to attend a workshop on election integrity, particularly those who missed the last one. This will be an opportunity to learn more about our election process and its vulnerabilities, as well as methods and means to address and learn more about our election process and to address those vulnerabilities. It will also provide yet another forum for concerned citizens to sign up to participate as an election judge, poll watcher, or hand counter. Folks, we always need volunteers for those positions. They're critical. And of course, Bob Reeves asked the commissioners to participate in a hand count demonstration prior to making a decision on whether to hand count or not. So this workshop gives us that opportunity, and our Hill Country Youth Event Center is the perfect location for the workshop. So I therefore make a motion to hold an election integrity workshop on either August 21st, 22nd, or 23rd at the Hill Country Youth Event Center. Looking for a second.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, don't you want to have a discussion before? People want to speak before?
Yep.
Take a vote.
The only thing that's on the agenda, Commissioner Casey,
Yeah.
is to schedule a meeting. Okay? And we listened to you go on in detail,
Yes, sir.
which was completely out of order. Had you been at the podium, I would have stopped you. But as peer respect, I'll let you continue.
Thank you.
The only issue we have before the court today is to schedule a hearing. And the question, if you want to have a discussion about it, whose hearing is this? Texas First is what it says.
Well, I'll restate and clarify, this is not Texas First. This is just a group of people that have knowledge and want to talk about various issues associated with our.
I have no problem with groups of people getting together and talk about whatever issues they want. That's what freedom is about, what democracy is about. But I do have a problem that this is somehow supposed to be an official county workshop. And so I don't know why it's on the agenda. If Texas First or any other group wants to rent the Hill Country Youth Event Center, it's available. So you want to schedule something at the Youth Event Center?
This is key to a decision that this court is going to have to make on the use and the adoption of our voting system. We should participate in a hand count, or at least observe one, to see what we're talking about.
I think you made an interesting point during your talk, is that why not let the Republican and Democratic primaries do hand counting, and we'll see how it works.
Well, they have the right to, if they choose to. I can't force that on them.
Well, then I think, to me, what I have always said is, and I'm still going to say it, is that I'm not going to vote for a system until I see volunteers come here and do it in a timely manner. And that has not,
we used to do it all the
and I
time.
told you that 3 months ago, and you haven't done anything to go in that direction. So I'm kind of like the judge on this. I don't mind a workshop, but I want to see it done locally here if it works. And I think the Democratic and Republican primaries are a great place to start. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if they can do it and it works there, that'll give you a lot of confidence. Because
But again, the workshop is an opportunity to do a demonstration for everybody.
But it's not our people.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there would be
I
other
just
people
want
that are
to,
doing it.
I want to see what
We're
they're
gonna have
talking
our
about.
people and county.
You know, I got nothing against listening to somebody, and I think that if we're gonna ever give this serious consideration, this would be one of the first steps to do it. So I'm willing to go and listen. Bob Reeves has suggested that we take part in hand count. I've said I'm up for that too. Whatever we can do so that everybody understands that we have good elections. We all think that something's happening someplace else and it's not happening here. I want to make sure everybody knows that it's not happening here. If it takes me a few hours to put into that and say I feel good about what we're already doing, or I feel like we should make some changes, that's part of why I'm here.
Probably that's exactly what I was gonna say, because I feel the same way. I think Bob initially said, okay, you want a hand count, I want you to participate in one, and I want to participate in one, see it. I'll go back a little bit further, some things that I've stated several times here. You know, I want every one of your votes to count. Everybody in this room, everybody in the county vote to count. Where I see the biggest problem, where our vote doesn't count, is somebody flips a switch on a computer or something in Harris County, Bear County, Travis County, something like that, where our vote, they can change 200,000 votes, 500,000, whatever, just like that, and it goes unnoticed, where our votes don't count. That's my concern. That's why I was all in favor of the resolution, what, a month or two ago. We need changes at state level to reel in these other big counties and stuff. You know, Bob and I have joked back and forth about a close election. Well, you know, neither one of us thought it was anything was shady, right? All we found out, and here recently we found out Harris, last name's good for 3 extra votes. So, no, I'm just kidding. That was the city election. But anyway, I don't think we have a problem with things here, but I do want to participate and see what this involves. I don't know about a workshop per se, but what if Bob wants to run us through the mill on something, and in fact, I think you are already working towards something like that, so put us there, weren't you, Bob, Nadine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm all for that. So I think we're on the same page. You and I, anyway.
I'm just trying to get clarification. Whose workshop is this? Is organized group? I'm fine with having a workshop. But who is it?
There'll be a number of different people. Mark Cook, who was here before, giving us the why and expressing concerns and vulnerabilities of the electronic vote.
So is this a Liberty in Action
No.
workshop? Is that what it is?
No. This is Commissioner Pace is trying to organize a workshop and bringing in experts to inform the public, create greater awareness. So this is not any one particular organization. We're going to have a number of different representatives and experts. As I mentioned, the Tally Texas group have already submitted a petition to the Secretary of State against the use of countywide poll. They're going to explain the why of that, because that has an impact on us. We're using countywide poll.
No, sir.
we're not.
Pardon me.
Okay.
We do not use county-wide polling. I'm sorry, Judge.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. If we're not, it's just during early voting when everybody shows up at the Youth Vet Center. How does that work?
That's two different things, Commissioner. Countywide polling's election day, where Commissioner Letts could drive out to the divide and vote. That does not happen.
Okay.
We have early voting, where regardless of where you live, but they are considered two different things. My apologies for interrupting the court.
Well, appreciate the input.
I mean, I've been thinking back, if we've ever done a workshop like this, I don't recall ever doing a workshop or something like this. I mean, we've always had workshops related to county departments or subdivision rules or, you know, things like that. You know, to me, this is, you know, have the meeting, have the workshop about the public. It's not a county, we just don't do these.
Well, what did we call, we did this with volunteer fire department issues and with animal control, and did we call them workshops or?
No, it wasn't a workshop.
They were town hall meetings.
Right.
So
Basically,
town hall meetings, which you're one commissioner basically. Then those that are concerned come to.
Who's reserving the pickup? I'm trying to find out who the we is.
I
I checked you.
and reserved it, so yeah,
You reserved
I've
it.
got yes, I do.
So this is your town hall meeting.
Okay.
well, it was
What
labeled
you want to talk
workshop
about?
originally, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm trying to clarify. This is scheduled a public workshop.
I guess it doesn't really matter whether it's a workshop or a town hall meeting. One of the key things about doing this was to try to get commissioners there to witness it, and particularly, as Bob has already suggested, that we participate in a hand count. And I'm happy to do that.
Is this Bob's workshop? Is this Bob's town hall meeting?
No, it's not.
I didn't think it was.
So he's welcome to participate in it in any extent he wants to. He can run the hand count if he wants to. Otherwise, we'll have other people do it. It's a detail, it's in August, so I haven't worked out all the details, but I assure you, it will be a good use of the county's time, anybody who turns up with the citizens' time, and the county's facility.
Point of inquiry? Can I ask a point of inquiry?
Okay.
If you go to
My name is Patricia Cope, and I'm a foreigner. I'm not from Kerr County, from Burnett County, but the elections administrator, as an independent functioning administrator of elections in Kerr County, could decide to have a public workshop that includes legal issues regarding the legality of the voting systems. That's just a suggestion.
Anybody ask the election administrator to do this?
For the record, I think I'm out of town most of that week. If I don't show up, I'm pretty sure that week I'm scheduled. Yeah, that's good. I've been here or there.
Bob, can I ask you to come back up? If you don't mind. Bob, a couple months ago, you suggested if we're to even consider a hand count, you wanted us to participate. How do you foresee that? Are you still willing to put something on like you suggested?
Yes, I'd be willing to, but I feel like to do a hand count, it should be under the same circumstances as would be required of the poll workers that are doing the hand count. And that would be not in a well-lit event center, but in the facilities we currently use.
Right.
In other words, the facility.
Like conditions.
Like conditions. Similar to Commissioner, when you were working with your kids on showing.
Right.
Like conditions.
Sure.
Okay, I think the only thing that's on the agenda is to schedule this meeting, whatever you call it. Whether it's town hall or workshop.
That's fine.
And I take it that you amend your motion and you accept his amendment?
Sure. I want to see what
Schedule the meeting.
happens.
Okay. Any other discussion on scheduling the meeting?
The motion was to set it for August 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. The agenda says the
To agree a
week.
date, basically.
So is it 3 days or is it
No, it's just a one-day event.
August
It's
21st?
not all day.
Is that
So it,
to be determined?
I was hoping that the court would say what dates you got available. Typically, we're putting on Mondays, so I would propose
So-
Tuesday the 22nd.
Well, if you're going to do that, you need to put a time as well as a date. I'm looking at my
I'm
calendar.
flexible, I got all day.
Well,
Do we have any budget stuff that day?
We never do it on Tuesday. I don't
I
Wednesday.
thought you had it on Wednesday.
No. Well, the 21st is Monday, 22nd is Tuesday, 23rd is Wednesday. I just put
Let's see.
3 days
Is that
so the court could
Commissioners
choose
Court?
what works best.
August 21st, I believe is a Commissioner's Court date, is that right?
No.
No.
Oh, no, sorry.
I guess I'll propose Tuesday. As, perhaps,
you got a time to go with it, the day or evening, what do you
I
propose?
think we need to do it during the day,
Okay.
so 1 o'clock.
I want to put
So
that time.
22nd,
Okay.
1 p.m.
Okay, so the motion is to schedule a meeting to discuss election integrity on August 22nd at 1 p.m. at different facilities.
Yes.
Okay. Second through second. Are you good with that? Okay. So, any other discussion?
Yes. Now, who is gonna run this thing? Are we,
I'll work with Bob, whatever input he wants, otherwise I'll run.
good with you?
I guess it should have stayed up here. Let me say from this, we want the workshop. The court wants the workshop, and that's certainly up to y'all. I would like to point out that in my opinion, and I don't know if my opinion's worth a damn, but I'm gonna give it to you. hand counting is not the way to go. For the simple purpose, if we want to take the primary, we would need an additional 80 people from both parties at the polling places. Some of the polling places may not even have room to conduct the hand counting, which you can start effectively at 8 o'clock on election day, because there's only one room. Commissioner, how many public places are available on the divide?
Right.
Commissioner, you drive by one every day. How many more public places?
Not many.
Our own Union Church. Not only that, but we had 6,135 early votes just in the Republican primary in March of 2020. We've conducted 2 tests, and I still challenge the court to experience it. But we conducted 2 tests, one with my staff, one with other members of courthouse employees, who, by the way, want to remain anonymous, and I'm going to respect that. But they conducted it. At the best, you're going to count 30 votes an hour. So you're going to need 19 plus teams to count the early voting to be through time the polls close, and that's if you work without a break, and that's only the Republican Party. So there's another 76 just on the Republican side. The Democratic Party would not need quite as many. So you're looking at that. Which one of you 5 will take the calls from Secretary of State at 8:30 while we haven't posted early voting? I'm just asking.
I volunteered.
You can volunteer, Commissioner, but you're not allowed to come in the polls, because I'm given the questions I'm faced with. You can volunteer all you want. For the better part of 6 months, the integrity has been brought to question. Are we perfect? No. Are we honest? Yes. Every poll worker that comes up there to work is honest. Integrity is the foremost what we look at, because the voting is our primary and most fundamental right we have. And we work hard to do it. We work very hard on that. Can the system be hacked? Anything can happen. I'm not going to tell you it can't. But the IT department, I don't see Bruce in here, and Nadine and I and his entire department have worked what might happen, how to go through it. We spent a lot of the county's money that we got, it's our money, to have a system of what happens. There's also a human error. One county in Nevada that hand counted estimated there was 25% human error in that. I want to ask you something else. You may think it's off base. My office is responsible for about $90 million a year to be distributed. Do you want me to go back to a ledger sheet and number 2 pencils? I'm not putting a dollar amount on their votes, gentlemen. I'm just asking in the real world on that. As far as the system not being certified, that's been alluded more than once. Every one of you received a response to that on March 10th via email stating that those comments were not factual. The biggest thing that's concerning me is the distrust that we have in the election system. As I said in my presentation, I don't know what Harris County does. I don't know what Loving County does. I do know this county, the way we work, my staff, the volunteers, we just want the best and most accurate election that you can get. I don't feel like hand counting is the way. The more we bring this up, the more it fuels that fire of distrust. As I've told Commissioner Paces, don't come after my staff, come after me, and that's what he's decided to do, and that's fine. I want the distrust to stop, and perhaps we should take a lesson from the legislative, the way they demanded Harris County do it, and the statutory duty of running the elections should be returned to the county clerk. Let her come up with the decision, and I will do my statutory duty as voter registrar. And we can start that in the next fiscal year. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make it very clear, I am not attacking you or your staff. I do have trust in you and all of our poll workers. That's not the issue. I do not trust the voting machines.
Right.
Okay, and I think that's the fundamental issue that most people have with our elections. It's the machines themselves. And it doesn't matter, our IT guys, despite their expertise, they're not allowed to look inside the machines. They're not allowed to look at the circuit boards. They're not allowed to determine whether there's a modem or any other means. And it doesn't take a modem to corrupt the process. One ballot that gets scanned with a QR code or a barcode on it can change everything. So again, my issue, my concern, my focus is on doing away with the darn voting machines. It's nothing to do with your integrity. I trust you. I trust Nadine and your team. And I'm also trusting the people because I truly believe we'll be able to get more than enough volunteers who are willing to hand count. Now, sure, we have a lot of details to work out about where you do it, because I agree. You know, I look at the Center Point 202 precinct, and we're going to have to find another location for the hand counting portion of it. And then we're going to have chain of custody issues associated with the ballots. They're all doable. We can figure it out. So my problem is I don't trust machines. No reflection on you. And I don't think there's anything you can do to guarantee or certify that the machines are foolproof. We all already know they're not. And the hard representatives admitted it. So, yeah, that's all I'm trying to do is address that awareness. Happy to work with you in making this happen. I appreciate Commissioner Lett's suggestion that we let the political parties, if they want to do the hand count. It's certainly their right to do so.
Bob, I'd like to ask you to go back and vote again.
It's exercise.
I think it's important that the public know. And I'm going to ask you straightforward. I have the utmost respect for you. Probably anybody in county government. You're at the top of my list. Do we have safe, secure elections here in Kerr County?
In my opinion, we have the most safe and secure that we can provide the voters and the government in operating.
We've been through a couple of close elections here. You were involved in one. We had one here just a few months ago. Do you see any problems with the way we're handling our voting right now? As the election administrator, do you see a problem?
With one correction, I'm not the election administrator. I know neither one of us are in the legal terms, and I want to get that out there. But to answer your question, Judge, do we have problems? I got problems with motor vehicle at times. But do we correct those? Do we foresee them? Do we do everything we can where the problems do not impact the integrity of our elections and that every vote counts? In my opinion, yes, we do. What errors we have will be human errors.
I think the follow-up, I look to other experts John, you're our expert when it comes to elections, and I'm gonna follow your recommendation. If you recommend that we say this is use it, that's what I'm gonna vote. I've never, even, everything everyone's saying is that we don't have a problem here, so why are we trying to fix it?
That's my
Let Harris County fix their problem, let Pennsylvania fix their problem. Why do we fix the problem that we don't have?
Right. Well, I want to speak to that. Part of it is trust. There is a trust issue. Bob talked about it. There are people sitting here today that distrust the system and the computers, just like Commissioner Pace has done. To go through the process of an investigation, looking at what somebody else has to say, but at least dispel those ideas. In my mind, I think that'll help quell some of it. What I anticipate is that we might end up right where we're at, but we have at least looked at it, examined it, and shown everybody that we're open-minded enough to take a look at it and see if we have the most secure elections that we can. So to listen to somebody who wants to analyze what we're doing now and make their case, I'm perfectly willing to listen to that, to, an alternative view. That's why I want to do it, so we maintain trust. And if we end up at the end, which I anticipate, thinking that there's a lot of logistical issues with it, which Mr. Reeves brought up. One of them is all volunteers, the spacing, how close you sit together, where you're at. That, can be dealt with, as Commissioner Pace has said. But if you're going to create new problems for yourself, you don't need to create. I want to know that beforehand. If we have some big glaring problem with the voting machines that we have, I'm not sure we can find out anyway. But I'm willing to listen to them so everybody understands that we trust what we have now. If we stay with it.
I don't mind having it worked out. I don't mind, looking at it. But what I want to see is a plan. We have these volunteers, what if a couple don't show up?
That's right.
And that whole precinct is disenfranchised because people don't count up.
That's part of the problem.
So I want to have like double the number of people.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about 300, I just.
Double would be about 720.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't think we have a problem in this county. There may be problems in I believe there are problems in other parts of the state and nation, but I don't see a problem here. We can look at other options, but for me to ever change from what we're doing and go against what the person I trust who runs our election, I'm gonna have to have a very clear, foolproof system, and for both, and we're gonna have for both the Democrats and Republicans, because they both have the right to be at the election poll. And I haven't heard anything from the parties, and if they're not 100% involved, it ain't gonna work. And we can't even. You haven't even talked so far to the two parties about doing the primaries. So we're so far away from making a decision on that.
I agree with both of you. This, to me, but again, there's nobody in this room that I respect more or think the most of as far as our election than Nadine and Bob. But I want to look at this. It's sort of like me going to buy a coat. I'm going to try it on. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. I want to see it. I'll go through it. I'll participate. Whether I'm going to buy it or not is yet to be determined. Bob, I'll give you a good example. On our election, when we were doing the recount, we each had a representative at each table, and they were, as they call that, vote for, right? Remember that. One of my people, and maybe one of yours might have come back and said, at that one particular table where they were calling out names, Reed, Harris, Reed, Harris, that 2 or 3 times, our people watching had to correct it. No, that was a Reed vote, or no, that was a Harris vote. They would just automatically wrote down and they logged the wrong number. So it's not foolproof. That was witnessed at our recount.
And that's where I allude to the human factor.
Yeah. Exactly. So there's nothing foolproof, but again, I don't think we have a problem here, but I know we have problems in other big counties, and I want everybody's vote here to count. And that's where I feel the biggest hurdle for us, being a small county, maybe 30,000 votes, something like that, would show up out of our 50,000 people or whatever, gets thrown in the trash can because a bigger county can just say, here's an extra 200,000 votes. So, anyway.
And to try to bring this thing to a head, we'll spend an hour talking about this. I think we've discussed it as much as we need to for the morning. I've got 11 people here that want to talk. I don't know, do we want to listen to them before we vote, or do we want to vote on this meeting? It seems pretty clear to me, everybody's willing to have a meeting and listen. But the one thing that I want to clear on the record is I stand squarely behind Bob Reeves and Nadine Alford. I have complete confidence and trust in our elections, and in your work, and in your integrity. And I think the people of this county need to know that. Now, whatever we're going to look at, we understand we're always looking for a better widget. And if that's what we end up with, that's what we end up with. But I want the public to know that I am squarely behind our
It's not a reflection on the staff here, it's just a reflection on the uncertainty about computers and hacking. That's what it is.
Again, I'll state one more time, I trust Bob and Nadine and our team. That's not the issue. That's why I want to bring Tina Peters in. She was the county clerk in Mesa County, Colorado. She too thought that there was no problem, that they had the gold star election system. There's a little bit different, Dominion machines. Anyway, please go to, without giving the full story, it blew up on her because she actually had some data that showed that the votes were manipulated. So go to selectioncode.com to see the Tina Peters story. I'd love to have her come and talk to you, sit down with you, Bob, and explain how it all happened and what you might need to start looking for.
We have a lot of guests here today to address them. Go back to my right.
Can I leave?
Go ahead. Go ahead. How do y'all want to do this? Y'all want to vote, or do you want to hear people?
Well, are you going to vote for the work?
Well, we've got people here for and against the meeting.
Yes, I understand.
And that's all we've got on the agenda today, is just a schedule meeting.
That's correct.
No more, no less. That's all it is. So, of the 11 people who've signed up, raise your hand if you want to go ahead and have your opportunity to speak down. Okay, let's just start going down the list. Red Henneke.
He says 3 minutes, Judge.
3 minutes.
I'm timing.
Fred Henneke, 2595 Bandera Highway, here to play whack-a-mole once again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Where's the distrust coming? It's coming from people who are pushing for a change. Why are they pushing for a change? Is it money? No. What is it? Why are they pushing for a change? Why are they creating this atmosphere of distrust where there is no basis for that? There are no facts. There is no evidence that indicates that there is an issue with the way Bob and Nadine run the election. I've been an election judge 3 times, and I will remind the court that the court approves the election judges and the election clerks. Are they also going to approve the volunteers who would count the votes?
Well, and Fred, indulge me, the topic on the agenda is the scheduling. And I'm going to try to get at least people that address the court to stay on the topic, even though we've drifted far afield. And then we understand there are going to be comments on the merits of this proposal at some point. But today we've just got to schedule this meeting. We've got to take a vote.
My position is that if Commissioner Paces wants to have a town hall, he can call a town hall. My position is that it should not be an action by the Commissioner's Court because it's not an official action by the Commissioner's Court. It is an action taken by Commissioner Pace in his capacity as a commissioner. So I would urge you vote against the scheduling of this workshop as an action of the Commissioners Court, and then go and attend.
And to clarify, I believe the motion has been amended to be a meeting that is effectively the Commissioner faces town hall.
So I'm opposed to the meeting because I think what it will do, it will further engender distrust. Because Mr. Cook knows nothing about Kerr County, the lady from Colorado knows nothing about Kerr County. They're going to come in here with a laundry list of what ifs, and people are going to rise to the occasion for that. So I'm opposed to the workshop.
So, thank you. Next, Jerry Hall.
Good morning, I'm Terry Hall. I live at 118 Independence, and I do speak on behalf of We the People, Liberty in Action. Really what this is about is the distrust of machines, and that's why we're asking for the workshop. We want it. We believe it's feasible, it's efficient, it's cost effective, and it's accessible to everybody. There's 100% accuracy, transparency, and verifiability when you hand count. And if you see the demonstration, you'll see what we're talking about with all the witnesses you have. It catches all that human error. It's kind of they've got a process in place because obviously that's a concern, obviously. And right now, all we know for sure is that people are casting ballots, and someone with a vendor tells us that the computer tells us what the vote tally is. That's not trustworthy any longer after the 2020 election. It's just not. It can't be verified. It can't be audited.
Trying to stay on topic?
I am staying on topic because this is why we want the workshop.
Is to schedule a workshop.
Yes,
You want to?
I'm getting to that. So we need to restore our confidence in elections, and to do that, we need to explore these other options and avenues. If you remember, the #1 issue at the GOP convention, the last 2 conventions, one of which the judge attended as a delegate, this issue became the top issue for legislative priorities 2 conventions in a row, and this was prior to the 2020 election. So there is a lot of distrust, not just in Kerr County. We're talking, this is the #1 issue for Republican voters, and y'all are Republican commissioners, or we're on the ballot as Republicans, okay? And so it doesn't matter, we learned this from the the 2020 election anyway, that it doesn't matter who casts the ballots, it matters who, or in this case, what counts the ballots. That's where the distrust is coming from. And this is about securing our elections, and it's a process that voters know right now can't be verified, can't be audited. There's huge problems. The black box comes from China. Nobody knows what's going on inside those computers, and we're asking you to do this for us. We're just asking you to do this. It's not going to hurt you to come see the process. Obviously, objections can be answered and worked through. We get all that. But what we're asking you to do is, because if we want you all to be there, it should be a posted meeting of the Commissioners Court. I think that's the aim here of Commissioner Pace's, is to make sure that all of you can attend. It should be some kind of a posted meeting of the Commissioners Court, whether you call it a town hall or whatever you want to call it. We want to make sure that you all can attend without violating Quorum and Open Meetings Act. So with that, I ask you to support this workshop or town hall.
Walter Little.
I'm Walter Little, 305 Sanders Road, Center Point. I've been a resident here for about 10 years. First of all, I want to commend all the commissioners for a very well-run county. I'm very proud to be a citizen of Kerr County. I want to commend Don for the town hall he did on the human trafficking. I thought that went a long way to building trust in our law enforcement and our county management. I'm here to support the hand counting of votes. Abraham Lincoln said, elections belong to the people, not machines. To me, it's just that simple. I've been in the computer industry for 40 years. I was going to say 50, but I thought you might not believe that. And I know every machine is manipulatable and hackable. There are no exceptions. And it's a black box, and there's not going to be any trust, no matter how much we trust our people in the county that run the elections. There's going to be continued distrust when we are doing a machine counting vote. With that, and I'm a volunteer for hand count, and I'll be active to find other volunteers too. So with that, I will cut it short. I had much more to say, but we'll cut it short.
Lori Gallagher. Ms. Gallagher?
Howdy, my name is Lori Gallagher. I'm a 5th generation Texan. My children are 6th generation Texan. I come here from Williamson County this morning. In Texas, we have 2 voting system companies for all 254 counties. We have found one county that is still hand marking and hand counting ballots in the voting precinct, and that is Glasscock County. They make their own ballot, and they also make their own tally sheets. They do it in the voting precinct, and they haven't had any trouble at all. I'm in one of those top 15 counties in the state. We've got over 600,000 citizens. In the 2020 election, we had 400,000 registered voters. I'm a licensed Texas realtor. On social media, voters across our county were saying they got the wrong ballot. They said, I live in the ETJ of Liberty Hill. The mayor was on my ballot, and I cast a vote for the mayor when I wasn't supposed to. We had voters saying that Donna Judge King's name was on her husband and son's ballot, but not on their ballot. And so when we set out, we're like, well, how does that happen? How many voters received the wrong ballot? And so when we went to go look how many voters received the wrong ballot, we found out there was no way to know with the Secretary of State's countywide polling program. Any voter can vote in any location and receive up to any of 100 different ballot styles at any location. And because of secret ballot laws, you can't know. You know what the ballot style the voter was supposed to receive, but you do not know the ballot style the voter actually received, marked, and cast. And so we had Princeton University, Andrew Appel. He is one of the top voting system experts in the entire nation. Confirm that our election results for the 2020 election in most of the races were unknowable and unrecoverable. And so these machines are generating unknowable and unrecoverable election results. There's no way to go back. Potentially every single voter was voting on a previous voter's duplicated ballot given out by the countywide polling program voting machines. We have, our county has gone into full protection mode to protect itself when the voting systems do not meet the Texas voting system standards found in Chapter 122. The county had to go into full protection mode. So my husband ran for county judge in the March 2022 primary to get standing to fix this issue of voters getting the wrong ballot across our county because no attorney would represent us. Nobody would take the case. We were told to leave it alone. My husband ran for county judge. He filed an election contest after his loss. The judge from the dais told my husband that in his 40 years on this bench, it brings him no pleasure to sanction my husband $20,000. But we poked the bear, and the bear's biting back. We believe we're in big trouble here in Texas, and we're here petitioning all 254 counties to get the machines out and secure Texas against the threats that we face today. We're here to petition y'all to please put this workshop together, and we will bring in experts with the 65 method. We have former election administrators in Texas that are willing to demonstrate how to do the 65. Thank you.
Here's your coat.
Hi, my name is Patricia Cope, and I'm a voter and taxpayer in Burnett County, Texas. I'm here today because we wanted to express our support to Commissioner Paces for trying to have this workshop. It's a very important issue. The voting machines that Kerr County used prior to the new Verity were never certified by the Elections Assistance Commission before they were approved by Texas. So when Hart Intercivic says that they're approved for use in Texas, these are the previous machines. When Hart says they're approved for use in Texas, that's all they say. They don't say they were approved or certified by the Elections Assistance Commission, because they are not, they were never submitted. So if you're using the Hart Dow units for the disabled from the old system, those are unlawful, and I think this workshop would be a perfect opportunity for people to learn about that particular problem. Also in 1990, the Supreme Court in Acker v. Texas said, "Our citizens are entitled to more than a result. They are entitled not only to know what government decides, but to observe how and why every decision is reached." You can extrapolate from that and apply it to votes. We have little black boxes that when you buy, you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and you're not allowed to open the box and look at what's inside. You can't see if there's code embedded. You can't see the source code, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I think I'm for the workshop, and I think there's serious legality issues with prior elections and the lack of EAC certification on the Hart equipment that you were using previous to the Verity. Thank you.
Claire Nybro.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to speak. My name is Claire Nybro. I am also a resident of Burnett County. I came down here today to see what was going on. I was very excited to hear what Commissioner Paces has started in your county. I commend him for standing in the gap for the people against the tyranny, and I think we are receiving tyranny when we vote on these machines. There is no accountability, there is no accuracy, and there's no transparency. The people don't trust exactly what this lady was talking about. There's no trust. They can manipulate the votes in those machines any which way from Sunday, and nobody knows what's happening behind the scenes. Who counts your vote? Does anybody know who counts your vote? When you do a hand tally, it's people in your neighborhood. It's your neighbors who are doing the counting. We trust this to some faceless corporation to tell us who our elected leaders are. We have the same problem in Burnett County with the machines. And I would also say I object to the money being spent on machines. Burnett County they just had budget hearings several weeks ago. They're talking about spending $500,000 to $1 million on machines that they hope they can get state and federal funding for. And not only that, but last year Burnett County paid $52,000 in licensing and maintenance fees. That money could be well spent someplace else. And our elections administrator was looking several weeks ago for another $15,000 for risk limiting an audit for a software program. It's just more money to these people who are stealing our voices, and there's no accountability from them. They can't produce any certification on the machines, and the people don't trust it. Obviously, we are at an inflection point in our world today, in our country. And we see what's going on, and we know that they are manipulating our voices. They're stealing our voices, and they're electing people who have no business running this country. It's not the will of the people. And so I'm hoping that you vote this correctly today. I would love to take what you do here today as a model for what needs to be done throughout every county in Texas. I am going to my commissioners meeting in Burnett tomorrow, and I'm going to tell them what happened here. I would love to hold you all up as a model for the rest of the state of Texas. To have a public event where people can come and see and participate. That's the problem with our society. People, we're so used, we have given away our security for our voting for convenience. The machines are convenient and they're expensive. And we need to put our voting back in the hands of our people, and this is a perfect way to do it, to have people come and be a representative in what happens in their local community, and it starts locally. It starts locally. So I really hope that you do have that public event. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Nikki Keynes.
Hi, Nikki Keynes. I live on 1809 Mountain Laurel. Thank you, gentlemen, again. I know this feels like we're rehashing this, but you are our face. We are the people, and you represent us, and we want you to represent us in this fully. I can't disagree with anything I've heard the other speakers say as far as being a proponent of having this demonstration. How much more transparent can it get? If the people of this county can come, they can see, they can experience it, they can be involved in it and see just how explicit, how detailed it is. I've worked with Mr. Reeves for over a year during the elections, and I have trust in him also. But I've also shared that my experience was I voted in the primary. My name didn't show up through any of the electronics. Now, how do you balance out, how do you justify that day's or any day's voting if you have, say you have 251 ballots cast that day, but you have 250 names? I do feel disenfranchised, and I cannot believe I am the only one in this county. So please give the people of the county an opportunity to be involved in this. We want you involved in it. I understand that there's a lot of details that might have to be worked out at the different polling places. But if you've got people in this county, like other counties are experiencing or saying they want to have the same thing, why not give us a chance? We want our voice to be heard. We want our vote to be counted. And we want you as our representatives to give us that opportunity. We want you to be there as well. We want you to see it, experience it, and walk with us through it. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a question. You said you voted if
Yes.
you were disenfranchised.
Yes.
I don't understand that. How do you
Okay.
disenfranchise if you voted?
Okay. And that is exactly what I was told when I brought it up to the county. I voted in the primary during early voting. When I went back for the runoff, they said, "Hey, you didn't vote." And I said, "Yes, I did." And they said, "No, you didn't." They checked every system that they have. My name did not show up as having voted at all. And the explanation I was given was, "Did you vote a paper ballot?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And I was told, "Well, then your vote counted." So again, how do you balance out and how do you justify the counting for that day or any other day if, for instance, you have 251 ballots cast, but you have 250 names, or vice versa? You have 250 ballots cast, but you have 251 names. Where does the justification come? They say my ballot counted. I don't know. I say I would rather put my vote in the hands of my neighbors who are counting the ballots because they're paper. I'm not leaning or putting my trust into a machine that said, "Yep, it counted, it went into the machine."
But you used the paper ballot.
Yes.
I miss it somewhere.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Next is Kenny Oker.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to reiterate what others have said. I have worked with Bob Reeves and Nadine for years, and this has nothing to do with people. It is strictly about machines, which cannot be verified. I have testified in this court previously that I have a person who reported to me, that they voted electronically in a previous election. They got the wrong ballot. They knew it was the wrong ballot, but they voted it anyway. That's one case that was reported. How many more times has that happened? I don't know. I have no way of knowing. I do want to say that I brought you a copy of from the Texas Election Code. I gave them to Miss Jackie over there. She can give them to you. This is straight out of the current election code. I brought you chapter 65, and I apologize that my brand new printer, which is going to be returned because it's defective, ran out of ink before it printed a cover section for each one of you. But you can read that it's already a matter of law that the tally system is approved. It does not have to be certified. It just requires some people. So thank you very much, and I support having a town hall workshop meeting, whatever you would like to choose to call it. Thank you.
Pat Lauren.
Standing in here. I'll try to make this short like I am. I want to say that I totally agree with what Rich Paces has advocated. I know he's done a lot of studying on it, and I know he wants to do the right thing. And I certainly think we need a public workshop to discuss voting and to discuss the hand counting and how it would work, and I think it certainly would. And I would say that I would certainly volunteer to help, Lord willing. And especially as our Commissioner Paces has said, and I didn't say I live in Center Point, or will have been, but anyway, especially having the speakers who would address the hacking of voting machines. These Chinese parts, I don't trust at all. I mean, those of us, I'm sure all of you have computers and such, we have all kinds of like malware bites on there to try to protect us because we know things can happen. And I kind of see the analogy of the voting problem kind of like reading a book online or reading it holding it. Somebody can change it online, but if you're holding it in your hand, nobody can come in and change it unless they break into your house. I mean, there's no way. And I just feel like it's very important, basically, to have this public workshop on it. And I see no reason not to have it, not to have more information. More information is always good. It can certainly do nothing but help us, because we all know from reports that the 2020 election, there were big problems, great big problems, and looking at all the details, and I won't go into that. I'm sure many of you know much better than I do. But anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Alicia Bell.
Okay, Alicia Bell, Precinct 1. I do support the hand count going to election, Chapter 65 of the Election Code. We've been using it for 100 years. How do we count elections prior to these electronic voting? We hand counted. We have our neighbors that count. You can see the tick marks on the piece of paper. Tick marks are very easy. As you're counting, if you go along, if you make a mistake, you know it just right like that. With the electronic voting, if there's a mistake, you're at the end and you're like, where's the mistake? We need to have confidence in our elections, and there is no problem with counting paper. We want to have accurate elections. Thank you.
Susan Duniger.
Susan Deininger, 103 Turnberry Circle, Kerrville. Why are we pushing for a change? I, in fact, am one of those who do mistrust. I arrived here in 2018, was very interested in finding out in that very first election, Bonnie White versus Blackburn or something like that, there was a certain amount of disruption of procedures. There was corruption in that election, and we were told, shh, we're friends here, we just don't, it's really okay, it's okay, it's okay. I ended up being part of a group that started the Patriots and began organizing watchers. And the one part of the watching process that we really had trouble with and still do is trying to determine what's going on electronically. things that we have caught in terms of the, counting. We've had to learn the terminology. It's not given to you. An election board is, we don't, ballot board, that's really something called something else, and we had to learn that before we found out when they held those. There's a tremendous amount of self-satisfaction in this county with how things are done. And I just think that there's no problem in reviewing. And there are whole states that do hand counting, and they do it in the time allowed. And I'm really, I read a biography of Lyndon Johnson, and he lost his first Senate seat, and he said, well, how many votes do I need? He's 76, and he said, give me an hour. And he went down to some little podunk place down in southern Texas, and he got his 76 votes, and he won. And I'm saying, I think we need to be careful. We no longer can just shake hands and trust our neighbors. Thank you very much.
And our last speaker on the list is Tanya Benson. Benson?
Hello, my name is Tanya Benson. I am here from Gillespie County. Am I talking loud enough?
Yeah.
Where do I?
Right at the camera.
Okay.
Speak louder, please.
All right, sorry. My name is Tanya Benson. I'm here from Gillespie County, and I wish to express my strong support for the workshop. I've been an election worker and recently a poll watcher in Gillespie County, a worker for over a decade, and so I'm familiar with a lot of the process. But I've noticed in the past couple of years, since we're now moving to digital and electronic equipment, that it makes it harder to really know what's going on. And also, there's been some concern here today about who's going to do what. Well, volunteers have a harder time when it's electronic because they don't know. They're not familiar with this. But we always had plenty of volunteers when we did it, combination sheets and hand counting and all of those things. And I also witnessed the Truth Summit last year. They showed us how even scanners and digital poll books have little bitty modems in them. And our county workers would never ever know that. It's not about whether the county workers are being dishonest or anything like that. It's, again, what everybody's saying. It's the electronic devices that we can't trust, and we know for a fact that they can be manipulated remotely. It doesn't even have to be right there in front of you. And when somebody says, I don't see it, you won't see it. You'll never see it. So I just wanted to say that thank you for having this, and I hope that you will have the workshop, because it's not just here in Kerr County, my county, Burnett County, a lot of these other counties are really, really interested in supporting this. I'll even come over from Gillespie County and volunteer. So, thank you.
Same here.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
I have a question or thing. Your workshops, Mr. Basis, but the things that I haven't heard anyone talk about are ballot harvesting, finding a box of ballots, and why we can't accomplish the same thing using paper ballots through a scanning machine. They're verifiable that way. I don't, we talk about, I agree that the machines, electronic voting, I don't like that, don't want that, never have voted on one of those machines. In my mind, it shouldn't be there. Well, what's wrong with a paper ballot that's put into a voting machine and counted? And that's one thing. And then how do what you're proposing stop ballot harvesting? And what you're proposing, how does it stop additional ballots just showing up? And I don't really answer now, but if you're going to have a workshop on it, let's cover the whole thing. Let's try to do it all. Because that's, in my mind, where the problems are. So and the other thing is, and I'm not in favor of I don't know, there's no reason for us to vote on this period in my mind, I just motion that second. I mean, it's just no different than the hundreds of other workshops we've had stuff in the commission, going to workshops, that's it.
But can we have a voice, can we have a roll call vote?
I've been trying to vote for about an hour.
I mean,
We're not gonna take this out in different way to vote.
It got turned down last meeting.
Judge, I have two more that just came in. They were left out on the tables with the sheriffs. I don't know if they're still there. Sorry.
Judge, I also signed up to speak on this.
On whether we're gonna have a town hall or not. I think
In your speech?
I spoke to them, but I signed up twice to speak.
Well, speak again, go ahead.
This is agenda item 1.1. Just a reminder.
It's the first of 4 9 o'clock time.
Thank you,
Ed, I thought we were
Judge.
gonna get you in and out of here real quick.
Yeah, that's okay.
Here, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for allowing me to speak again. I thoroughly agree with Mr. Paces on what he's trying to do. I do not trust the components that come from China at all. They can be very easily hacked by them and just crush our elections. And I think the workshop that he's trying to do, or public forum, or whatever you want to call it, is an excellent idea. And I've already signed up to count ballots in the next elections. And I will be there unless I'm in the hospital. So this is very important to all of us. It doesn't matter whether we're Democrat or Republican. We just want to be able to say that our elections were good, that they were honorable, that they were done correctly, that they weren't possibly hacked by China. And I thoroughly stand behind Mr. Paces on this.
Maria Hammerline.
Good morning. My name is Maria Hammerline. I'm a Kerr County resident. I have a granddaughter outside who's waiting for a plate of pancakes, so I have to apologize to her that I didn't make sure my form was in someone's hands here. So I'll be brief. 3 points. One, the first one being, we're just asking for, whatever you want to call it. I heard y'all come up with 2 or 3 different names for it. It's called basically letting the people see what the other hand is doing, okay? We want transparency. Let's just have it. Let's not kick the can down the road. I was at the legislature when we were trying to get the voter ID bill passed. We had people with the courage that had some foresight that things are changing. And folks, things are changing here. We do have an enemy. China, do you have any idea about what, they have troops in Cuba, okay? They have troops in Panama. If you don't think that this world has changed and we have an enemy, then I don't know if there's any hope for you. So let's be smart. Dig your well before you need it. How many of you, had a problem with the well before? Well, it's not fun. So they had foresight back in 2013 to pass a sanctuary city bill. Why? Because they knew things were getting ugly. Things are ugly. So we really need this. We need to see what's going on. I used to be a buyer for Dell Computer, okay? I used to buy components for motherboards. And I'm telling you right now, you look at get a motherboard out, you're not gonna know what component is what component. So it's a black box. You really trust China? You really trust these companies who have gone into China bringing business in? They're made, Facebook is in China, only because they signed an agreement. We cannot trust large corporations, and sadly, we cannot trust China. So let's go on and have this workshop if you can. Thank you so much for the time.
Bev Avery.
I'm going to waive my time. I think everything that's been said better than I can say it. Thank
That's
you.
good. That's what I wrote all the words. Mary Ellen Cook.
Sir, that's for 1.3.
Oh.
1.3. That should be the last one.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, those in favor of the town hall meeting, Mr. Pace is suggested for that first week in August? Okay.
The
Say aye.
22nd at 1,
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
22nd, 1 o'clock. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is set.
Yeehaw!
Let's take a 5-minute break. But let's come back and start on the 9 o'clock hour. order. Now, for the other 3 timed items at 9 o'clock, I apologize to everyone involved. Sometimes we just have to do business before we can get down to the fun stuff. So let me start with item 1.2, which is the presentation of the 2022 Distinguished Service Award to the Kerr County Historical Commission. Buddy, if y'all would come forward, I'm sitting down here. There'll be a photo opportunity for those that have cameras. This is from the Texas Historical Commission, meaning that we are among the very best historical commissions in the state of Texas, and we are so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge.
Smile. One more. Smile.
Thanks.
And for those of you that don't know what the Texas Historical Commission is, go over to Union Church. What day of the week is it up here? Of the month?
Third Monday, September 3.
Third Monday of the month. And you're going to see buzzsaws. I'm telling you. They get to work over there. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Judge.
Item 1.3 is consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a proclamation declaring the month of July as Animal Awareness and Wellness Month in Kerr County. Ms. Guerrero.
Actually, Judge Brianna Larson is going to speak for us. I'll let Jody know that.
Okay. She smiled at me the whole first hour and a half.
Well, good morning, Judge and Commissioners. As Karen said, my name is Brianna Larson, and I live at 507 Ruth Street in Kerrville. I currently serve as the Secretary for Kerrville Pets Alive, an all-volunteer nonprofit animal welfare organization serving Kerr County. As you know, KPA provides support and resources to Kerr County Animal Services, as well as Kerr County pet owners. We have made great strides in providing affordable and accessible services to pet owners, such as our recent Pet Wellness Clinic, where we provided free cat and dog vaccinations and microchips for over 200 Kerr County pets. This year, we will also hold a 3-day, 200-pet, low-cost spay and neuter clinic from September 30th through October 2nd. We believe that education and prevention are key to ensure a healthy, safe, and manageable pet community. The month of July is challenging to both pet owners and pets in many ways, such as the heat poses a threat to outdoor pets and pets left in hot vehicles. July finds many visitors to our county, especially during the 4th of July weekend, with pets needing pet-friendly accommodations and assistance. The July 4th fireworks and gunshots also affect animals, many of which end up lost, injured, or in our county shelter. Diseases such as heartworms are increased by mosquitoes, and the humid conditions welcome contagious viruses in cats and dogs. Fleas and ticks are also in abundance in the hot months. We also see an increase in pet litters following the spring season and influx of pets at the shelter as families move or go on vacation. With that said, KPA asked the court to declare July as Animal Awareness and Wellness Month in Kerr County with a proclamation as follows. Whereas animals play an important role in Kerr County as working animals, pets, security, health companions, therapy, service pets, and law enforcement. And whereas animals play such a significant role that it is important that we keep them safe and healthy. And whereas the month of July is dedicated to spread awareness about the health, hazards, and help for Kerr County animals. If this proclamation is granted, KPA will place a banner on the courthouse grounds and increase public pet education and awareness throughout Kerr County during the month of July. Thank you for your consideration.
Then I'll make a motion that we go ahead and proclaim July as the Animal Awareness and Wellness Month as presented by Ms. Larson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, what's the thing about the fireworks?
More so that it causes a disruption for pet owners and the pets should they be lost, injured, or find themselves in the shelter. And then we have to help coordinate with those pet owners to
Are you
reclaim.
suggesting that we not have them?
We did not make that suggestion. We just make the suggestion that public awareness be brought further to Kerr County residents about the hazards or implications that fireworks may have.
Fireworks aren't mentioned in the resolution.
She meant,
No.
she just read it off.
I know she read it off, but it's not in,
the.
it's not in here. Not what we're voting on. She may have said it, but she's not, it's not.
Did you read from what the resolution, you said it was the resolution?
I didn't say it was the
I
resolution.
thought you did.
No, I
So
just
what did you
said
read?
that it was a challenge to both pet owners and pets in many ways and read off some of those ways.
Yeah, I'm interested in this because every year I get emails where people suggest that we shouldn't have 4th of July fireworks. And celebrating our independence is a lot more important than worrying about my dog.
We didn't ask that. She didn't ask that. It's just-
We didn't ask to cease the use of fireworks in the county celebration of the 4th of July.
Okay. I didn't make it up, I heard her say it.
I did say the word
Guns and
fireworks.
Yes,
That is correct. I did say that. We just weren't asking for the cease of fireworks.
yeah.
It's not implied in the information that I stated nor the proclamation.
That's wrong. That's in school.
Yeah.
You what?
I said we're tested this morning, and not myself included.
Well, I get the emails, I guess you guys don't get them, but
Oh, I get them.
I'm tired of people suggesting we shouldn't have fireworks for 4th of July because of their dog.
Great.
Take care of your dog.
Some of the best working dogs are hunting dogs.
Any other discussion? Okay. Those in favor of declaring July as Animal Awareness and Wellness Month, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
4-1.
And the reason is because this is how it starts. Then next year, you don't want fireworks and so on. I don't believe it. I take care of my dog. Everybody that loves animals takes care of their pets, so I don't see the point.
Okay. Item 1.4. Consider discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the closure of gasoline alleys from August 17 at 6 p.m. to August 19 at 12 p.m. for traffic control associated with A1 Transmission 45th anniversary celebration. Ed Rowe.
Good morning, Your Honor and Commissioners. Next month, or rather, excuse me, August, we'll be celebrating at A1 Transmissions our 45th anniversary of repairing autos and trucks here in Kerr County. In Kerrville, I would like to have the opportunity to do what we did on our 40th anniversary, which is to shut down Gasoline Alley for that period of time so we can get ready for this celebration and have everybody out to celebrate with us. We'll have barricades that we will rent to put up, and there'll be places for people that inadvertently make a wrong turn and come down the road. There'll be a place for them to turn around so they can get back out without hindering them. And there'll be access to everything else around from Ed's Way and Blue Ridge and Cummings Lane to get to everything, emergency vehicles or whatever, other businesses. And so there's not going to be a problem, just like there wasn't 5 years ago when we did it.
Quite an accomplishment, 45 years. I move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve closing Gasoline Alley from August 17 to August 19 as time specified for the 45th anniversary celebration. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you. Y'all are all invited as well to come out and celebrate with us.
Thank you.
I'll be there.
Thank you.
Okay, now to the untied items. Well, actually, we can't.
we can't.
Let's switch over to 10 o'clock items, excuse me. And 11 o'clock items. First item at 10 o'clock is 1.13. Consider discussion take appropriate action for the court to set a public hearing for 10 a.m. on August the 14th, 2023 for a revision of plat for Hidden Valley Ranch, Section 1, Lot 58, and Section 2, Lot 84. Charlie,
This proposal revises the lot line between two existing lots. Lot 58 of Section 1, 14 acres is platted, and Lot 84 of Section 2, 8.36 acres is platted. Lot 58A of Section 1 will be 16.10 acres fronting on Camino Real. Lot 84A of Section 2 will be 6.24 acres fronting on Lillian Drive. Lot 58 and proposed Lot 58A is in the floodplain and must meet requirements for development in the floodplain. County engineer requests the court set a public hearing for 10 a.m. on August the 14th, 2023 for for a revision of plat for Hidden Valley Ranch, Section 1, Lot 58, and Section 2, Lot 84. Volume 4, page 33, and Volume 4, page 39, Precinct 1.
Move for approval.
Second. A motion and a second to approve the revision, the setting public hearing for August the 14th for Hidden Valley Ranch as presented. Any other discussion, questions?
Yes, sir.
My recollection is the headwaters is changing the rules August 1st or something.
August the 10th.
10th?
Yes, sir.
Either way.
Yes. The applicant's aware of that. The applicant's.
Well, my question kind of is Headwaters going to no longer sign off on revisions if they're less than 10 acres?
I don't know the answer to that.
That's a pretty important issue.
Yes, sir.
I think we need to get clarification from Headwaters what their intent is on that, because it's like the revision subject to our new subdivision rules. So is it subject to theirs, or are they going to grandfather? I mean, how do you grandfather something that hadn't happened?
Something unique on this, both lots already have wells.
Which is good, but I'm just trying to head off a problem in about a month.
Understood.
The train wreck's probably a better way to say that. Okay. Hopefully Headwaters is watching.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item 1.14 is a revision of plat for Real Oak subdivision, lot 17A, precinct 2.
I think this one's a public hearing.
Public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on the revision of plat for Real Oak subdivision? There being none, we'll adjourn. Go on. Next item is item 1.15, public hearing for revision of plat for Wild Ranchland, Section 3, tracks 126 and 131R.
This proposal revises and combines two existing tracks, track 126. Oh, this is the public hearing portion, I apologize. I got ahead of myself.
You know Charlie's going to speak on it. Anybody want to speak on this one? There being none, we'll adjourn the public meeting, go to the next item, which is item 1.16. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the revision of plat for Wild Ranchland, Section 3, tracks 126 and 131R. Charlie Hayes.
This proposal revises and combines two existing tracks. Track 126 is 50.71 acres as platted, and track 131R, 79.24 acres as platted. They will be combined into tract 126, 129.94 acres. Road frontage will be on Camino YO East and Lost Man Road. And we just held a public hearing and nobody spoke. The county engineer requests the court consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding revision of plat for YO Ranchland Section 3, tracks 126 and 131R, Volume 6, page 17, and Volume 8, page 164, Precinct 4.
I move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve the revision plat for Wild Ranchland, Section 3, tracks 126 and 131R. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. 1.17 is a public hearing for a partial cancellation and revision of plat for the Riverbird Wine Edition Lot 1. This is in Precinct 1. Public meeting, anyone here to speak on Riverbird Wine Edition? There being none, we'll adjourn. Move on to item 1.18, which is consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding partial cancellation and revision of plat for Riverbird Wine Edition Lot 1. Mr. Hastings.
Thank you, Judge. This proposal revises and cancels part of Lot 1 of Rivenburg Wine Edition. It's a single lot subdivision platted in August of 2022. It adjusts and moves lot lines approximately 125 feet in order to accommodate the locations of improvements. Lot 1, currently 5.18 acres, will be revised into Lot 1R, 5.18 acres, by exchanging 1.7 acres with the adjacent unplatted tract. Part of Lot 1, 1.78 acres along the southwest side of the lot, will be canceled and returned to its previous condition as part of the adjacent unplatted tract. This lot is in the Kerrville's ETJ. Since the lot is over 5 acres, this proposal may be exempted from platting through the city of Kerrville. The drawing that you have does show improvements on it for the sake of you seeing where the home got built and why the adjustments being needed. But the plats that are actually in the hands of the county clerk do not have those improvements on them, so that's not an issue. The county engineer requests the court consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding a partial cancellation and revision of plat for Rittenberg Wine Edition Lot 1, plat file number 22-06687, Precinct 1.
Is that the public hearing?
No, this is consideration.
And we just held the public hearing moments
I
ago.
move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the cancellation and revision of plat for Riverberg Wine Edition, Lot 1. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Unanimous. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Item 120, which is a public hearing regarding the naming of an unnamed...
19?
19. Okay. Well, consider, discuss, make appropriate action to acknowledge a potential conflict of interest concerning the county subdivision floodplain administrator and a proposed approximately 15-acre, 2-lot subdivision known as the Buck subdivision. Mr. Hastings.
Thank you. An existing approximately 15-acre lot located on Wiedenfeld Lane in Precinct 4 is proposed to be subdivided into 2 lots of approximately 5 and 10 acres.
Charlie,
One, yes, sir.
Precinct 3.
I can say.
Oh, it is Precinct 3. I apologize. Got an error on here. This is Precinct 3.
Know thy precinct.
One of the owners, Mr. Ryan Buck, is the brother of the county engineer's wife. The county engineer is both the subdivision and floodplain administrator and has an obligation and duty to review and certify that said subdivision conforms to the subdivision and floodplain regulations. Such certification will require the county engineer's signature on the subdivision plat. Concerning the Buck subdivision, the county engineer certifies the following. I have no personal, financial, or other interests that could or could be seen to influence the review or certification I am giving in the course of my official duties concerning the Buck subdivision. That's signed and dated today. However, I need for the court to acknowledge this potential conflict of interest, and I would like for the court to authorize the engineering assistant to sign the plat as an authorized designee.
My preference is that we authorize the county engineer to sign it. I'm familiar with this particular property, the situation. I know the property well. So, I mean, there's no variance being requested as I understand it. Therefore, I'll make a motion that, what was the wording you had there? That we,
Well, I would make a motion to authorize the county engineer to sign it in his official capacity.
okay, I'll move that.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to authorize the county engineer to sign the proposed plat. Okay. Any discussion?
That's all.
Yeah, appreciate you coming to us.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing coming to us, but.
Yep.
A little transparency.
Yeah.
All right.
But in this case, as a lawyer, I'm going to tell you factually, there is no conflict of interest. We understand the potential.
Yes, sir.
But there's no conflict of interest. With that, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item 120 is public hearing regarding the naming of the unnamed private road to be Schmidt Lane North. Ms. Hoffman.
It's a public hearing. Public hearing.
Public hearing? Silence is deafening. Since there is no one, adjourn. Move on to item 1.21. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action for the Commissioner for final approval regarding the naming of an unnamed private road to be Schmidt Lane North. Ms. Hoffman.
Mr. Jeff Lawrence applied through the 911 office on 4/30/2023, requesting to name an unnamed private road to be named Schmidt Lane North. There are multiple property owners listed with KCAD listings. The public hearing was just held. At this time, I asked the Commissioners Court for their final approval to name an unnamed private road to be named Schmidt Lane North in Precinct 3, and we do not maintain this road as of right now.
And if I remember correctly, at the last meeting, Mark Toro was here, and they had approved this.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Got a motion and a second to approve, final approval for the renaming of the private road as Schmidt Lane North, that review system. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Now, let's move over to the 11 o'clock on that. Is Laura Trendergraph here?
She's here.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Actually, you're one of the few people that didn't have to wait. Let me call the item. This is item 1.25. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve amendments to electric line easements and right-of-way agreements between the LCRA Transmission Services Corporation and Kerr County. This is a 138 KVs at
I believe so, yes, sir.
Cypress Creek to Raymond Barker line, piece 662. Ms. Prendergraph.
We have 3 separate amendments to 3 separate lines.
And my understanding is these are just amendments to what we already have.
Correct. These are amendments to allow us the right to assign a third party to use the fiber optic that already exists on the line.
Right. And you're actually paying us some consideration for it, and haven't done anything.
That's right.
So this is purely found money.
That's all right. I'm moving for approval of the agenda.
Second. We got a motion to approve. Second, to accept these leases. And all this is cleaning up legally use of the easements out there. So, any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we are on untimed items. So flip all the way back over, page number 2. And tomorrow you need to tell Reagan how long it took you to be heard.
Reagan's here.
Reagan's here? Here. He knows. Okay.
1.6, is that what we're
1.5. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign 2024 Dodge Ram pickup quotes so the vehicles can be ordered. They're going to get
So this is just a little bit of a formality. I came to you guys last time asking for basically pre-approval to order a couple of trucks prior to the budgeting process.
Now we have quotes. You asking us to approve the quotes?
Yes, and sign them.
Second. We got a motion and a second to approve quotes on 2 Dodge Ram pickups.
And authorize the judge to sign that.
Yes.
Authorize me to sign.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item 1.6, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the holiday schedule. Mr. Anonymous.
Yes, Judge, Commissioners, I come before you this morning, right, still morning? I brought 3 different options for your review as far as like the holiday schedule. It had been brought to me to include the Juneteenth, as well as the eclipse on one. So you have option 1 that has the regular holiday.
By that, you mean what we've already been doing?
What we've already been doing. Nothing added, nothing taken away, everything the same. Then you have option 2, which does include the eclipse, which I think everybody's predicting to be a little bit chaotic. And then the option 3 would be to include the eclipse and Juneteenth.
My only comment is that kind of the number of days, option 1, where we currently are, 13 days. We add in the, which I'm not totally opposed to doing that. It goes to 14 days paid holidays for all county employees. Option 3 goes to 15, which I'm not in favor of. Definitely not in favor of that one. So, yeah, I think from a health and safety standpoint, it probably makes sense to go with option 2 this year. But we make sure that we go back to
Just because of the eclipse.
Yeah, just because we go back to a 13-day holiday schedule next year.
Sounds
Is that a motion?
I make a
So wait,
motion.
but you said next year, so
I mean-
the eclipse is in 24.
Yeah.
You're right.
Next fall.
23 in?
The 23, 20, the 24, 25 year we go back to. I'll make a motion to go with option 2, which will keep the current holidays and add Monday, April 8th. to the eclipse.
I second that.
Is there something I haven't thought of I have to do?
We've got a motion and a second on the floor, so we're open for discussion.
I just want to bring up that Juneteenth is a federal holiday. Banks are closed, post office is closed, district clerk cannot process passports, tax assessor and I cannot make deposits. I just wanted to bring that to your attention in order for you to make a decision.
Also, as the sheriff, here's the sheriff, I'm probably gonna say what he is. His people are gonna be all hands on deck.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, whether it's holiday or not, be 50+ of us out. I mean, I will have to work with auto, there'll be a huge amount of holiday pay. Everybody will be out.
Well, that's what my concern is. If it's not a holiday, if the eclipse day is not a holiday, and if everybody's working, they get time and a half overtime, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's, and how's that paid out?
Well, through my overtime budget, but I believe, we're probably gonna make a recommendation that maybe during the budget process, a separate line item be set aside for that, for us and road and bridge and stuff like that. Whether that's up to y'all, $50,000 or $100,000, I think should be set out for that.
If we make it a holiday, then it's gonna be double time. Right?
Double time, yes, sir, and it's gonna be a lot.
Well, here's the other thing. We're talking about a single day. It's not gonna be a single day. It's not gonna be one day.
Right.
Everybody shows up and 10 minutes
There's
after.
one day that they're gonna be working that is a holiday.
No, I'm talking about the congestion, the issues the sheriff's gonna deal with. If we say, okay, we're gonna give one day for that, it really doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference. Because people are gonna start showing up, we don't know when.
Harley, we'll be running about 72 hours straight.
Sir?
72 hours
72
straight.
hours
Yes,
at
sir.
least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you where I'm coming from. Besides the sheriff and road and bridge, the rest of the courthouse, it's gonna be hectic getting here. Their kids are gonna be out of school. Schools are already closing that day and what have you, and I was just looking out for them. Knowing that, it's not an option for you guys.
Right, correct. I mean, it's just a big cost factor.
Yes.
Rescind my motion.
So you're withdrawing your motion.
I'm withdrawing my motion. And the reason is, I think a better recommendation is to go with option 1. And I don't see that this is a whole lot different than a bad weather day.
Yes.
And the department, the court can direct the departments that if they think they need to, for public safety reasons, keep their employees home that day, they can.
And
That's a motion?
It's a motion. No, it's a motion that we're going with option 1.
Second, with that reasoning.
The only thing I know, all schools, I don't know if that affects anything, are gonna be closed that day.
Right.
Yeah, the net effect is gonna be the same, but it's gonna save us a lot of money.
Good catch.
Well, just like a bad weather day, as you say, somebody trying to get here from Hunt, gonna have problems.
Right.
Somebody
And
lives
getting
across
home.
the street can walk to work. So it's like a bad weather day. It's a perfect,
Good example.
And still no Juneteenth.
Right.
Option 1.
Option 1 doesn't include Juneteenth.
It does not include
No.
Juneteenth.
Option 1 is 13 days, the same number of days we currently have.
Good.
The same holiday we currently have.
But I think what our department heads and officials are telling us, we're gonna have to pick up Juneteenth sometime.
well, are there any holidays that are not bank holidays that we take off?
Yeah.
That we can swap around?
I think we take off every bank holiday, or federal holiday.
Okay, so every federal holiday, we don't take off President's Day, or the banks are closed then.
We
We take
do
off
take-
President's Day?
Yes, I believe so.
No, we were.
Yes, we do.
It's
Well, we don't, but some of them.
February? Yes. Yes. President's Day.
Would y'all like a list of our
I
current?
mean, I
See,
would
the
think
only-
because the federal government decides we need another holiday, they want another holiday.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just care less whether they're working or not.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that people can't do some things, but
That's all right.
Things we can do.
Right.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve option one as presented by the HR director for the holiday schedule. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
just a comment on that, this was very recently, there was another one of the holidays we didn't use, we let off, because we felt it was more appropriate to let off, tax and defense. That's what we meant a couple of years ago. So this, we haven't always followed the federal list. That was just for small entities.
Texas Independence Day is pretty important.
It's a big one.
Item 1.7, consider, discuss, take appropriate action to approve the county payroll schedule for FY 2023-24.
So that would be option number one, which would follow option number one for holiday schedules that you just approved.
I move for approval.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve the county payroll schedule for FY 23-24 on the basis of option one. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item 1.8, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the 2023-2024 renewal notice and benefit confirmation for the Texas Association of Counties Health and Employee Benefit Pool. Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, during the budget workshop that we did, I am recommending that we go with the option where we have the county pick up anything that is over on the, on anything that is, what am I trying to say?
The rate increase.
Yes, the rate increase, yes, on the rate increase, that the county picks up what.
We discussed this last time.
That's correct.
And all, the consensus was we wanted to have the county pick up the difference.
The difference.
Right. And I make a motion that, we approve the renewal, package as presented. Which includes that the county will pick up any of the rate increases in minimal, on our health insurance program.
And the decrease on the health?
Yeah.
Yes.
Second.
We absorb the whole thing. Got a motion and a second to approve the renewal notice of benefit confirmation as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item 1.9 is to discuss and take appropriate action for the renewal of the tax liability renewal questionnaire.
Yes, it is time to renew our liability insurance. I have completed the forms and gone through the vehicle listing. I did forget to include the vehicle listing in the packet. However, it is a listing of everybody, and I have contacted the county, all of the ones that have the vehicles, and they have confirmed to me what vehicles have been added and dropped, and we have kept everything current, and it will be submitted along with the packet.
Is there a, they haven't given us a new rate.
Not yet.
Very much that we approve the, submitting the renewal
Questionnaire.
for liability insurance.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second to approve the tax liability renewal questionnaire as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. 1.10, consider, discuss, take appropriate action to authorize the nominating committee to seek nominations and submit an application to the Kerrville Chamber of Commerce for a county employee to participate in Kerr County Leadership Class number 2023-24. The application will be paid out of the current year's budget. Ms. Sullivan.
I come to the court every year if it's your will. If you decide that you want to have us look for somebody to go through that leadership class, then my request is the same as before. Myself, the county attorney, and HR director would be the committee to review applications.
Move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve the committee to nominate someone to attend the Kerr County Leadership Class as presented. Those in favor say aye.
Hold on.
Hold on.
What's the fees on this?
$850.
And
And it's budgeted each year, so it's already in the budget to pay this August
for all three?
for one person to go.
$850 a piece.
But it's,
The three people are the committee.
they
We
don't
just,
get paid.
we usually put just one person.
Yes, just one person.
Okay, all right, that's what I need.
Yeah.
Judge, who made, okay, I had Commissioner Baloo made the motion. Who made the
Right.
second? Pieces. All right. And you called the vote.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same, unanimous. 1.11, consider discuss and take appropriate action regarding office location of the county treasurer and environmental health department. Mr. Letts.
Not a whole lot's changed on this one since last meeting. I have talked to Von Bull, and here I'm gonna meet this week, so I can try to get an answer exactly what their plans are for that building. And I said, the options is that they vacate the entire first floor, half the first floor, or none of the first floor. And that's what their plan looks like, because the office space that they were looking at in Kendall County and Bernie, that's all just,
Oh.
so, they have no place to go right now. They're looking at additional space, or for additional space, but that may or may not happen. I suspect rent space is rather a premium in the county.
I got a call from Commissioner Elkins from Kendall County, and he said that they probably need it for at least till October, but most of it before then.
How much space are they need over there?
Well, that's what I've done, that's what I'm meeting with,
What they're needing in Bernie? I think it's about as much as they can get. The driving factor is trying to get people that live in San Antonio or commute to work.
they're young attorneys that they tend to attract. It's a long commute, and they can't afford to.
They're on the bottom end of the pay scale and have problems to drive.
And and we know going in, it's a bit of a training center. They're gonna, But anyway, I'm gonna talk to John and say, what can you free up and when?
But they've been very cooperative and flexible with us, so.
Sure.
As we can, we can.
I'd like to say that the thing that came up before, which was moving, then moving again, is not a good plan. I just want to reiterate.
Well, this kind of plays into that.
Yeah.
We don't have to move details.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we need to make a decision today until Commissioner Lutz comes back with more information. I agree with Commissioner Blue that the environmental group has agreed to move over there. We should try to only move them once, not bounce them all over the place in between, which would be very harmful to their ability to deliver their services. So I would just say.
But at the end of the day, we just don't have a place to send them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you could just go ahead and swap treasury and environmental, and I'm saying, no, let's not do that. Not until we can move environmental to a longer term point.
So,
In February of 2022, I was asked to take over processing and payroll in my office. At that time, discussion took place about the need for more office space and additional staff for the additional duties, as my office space was not adequate. Since April 2022, when the processing of payroll was officially transitioned to the treasurer's office, I have had a full-time employee processing payroll with limited space and out in the open, violating HIPAA. It has been said that since the bond issue didn't pass last fall, space now needs to be found for my office. In February of 2022, I was not made aware that additional space for my office was contingent upon the bond passing. If that was the case, that would have taken at least 2 years for constructing new office space, and I certainly would have objected to waiting that long. My staff and I have been waiting patiently for the court to decide where to move our office, and I ask that it not be delayed even longer. As you're all aware, September 30th is the end of the county's budget year, which, along with the auditor's office, takes months to close out. October 1st is the beginning of the county's budget year, which helps contribute to the busyness of my office. And then in August, we will be transitioning to Encode 10. This will take at least 6 months to transition, and that is an estimate, assuming there are no issues or hiccups that will delay the process even more. For these reasons, as well as the fact that we've waited and made due for 15 months now, I respectfully request that you not keep pushing this down the road and allow my office to move into larger, more adequate space to perform the additional duties we were asked to do.
I think that the issue of HIPAA is pretty big.
It is.
And one, we're violating federal law, two, we're not. And one, and an inconvenience is a lot more tolerable than violating federal law. But, we can talk to Mr. Bull, there's space available, but in my mind, we need to move forward. And I don't like doing it twice. I understand that's a problem. But we've been trying to get this worked out for a long, I didn't realize it was 16 months, but it's a long time.
What was the issue at the annex? Using the space at the annex?
Which the
Environmental.
They don't
out
have
there.
a place to put new lawyers to.
No. Talking about moving to.
Yeah, that-
To the Ingram Annex?
Yeah.
That's a possibility. I mean, that
There's ample room, so I know that Ashley looked at it, so what was the?
Sir.
Oh, here he is.
Sorry, no worries. So one of the biggest issues for the annex, which we didn't go visit it, but the concern would be the central location for the professionals in the public to have access to us versus being all the way in precinct 4 in the Ingram Annex, being centrally located, even if it's in the PDO office, is better situated customer service wise and courtesy to the public because we are a public office. As far as for the move to the PDO, we did walk that. We did find some office space that was not being utilized at the moment. If that's something that we can go ahead and move now, and we can adjust our operation to accommodate client attorney privilege in the meantime until they get situated, but there is office space not being utilized right now. That does fit our operational needs.
So I
That
think
sounds good.
we need to let Commissioner Letts move forward, have this meeting, with the Commissioner, Bull, and get back with us.
And I'm just trying to expedite this matter. I will see Judge Lutz Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock. And we're going to talk about some of the PDO issues anyway. Tomorrow, if you could give me a sketch or diagram of the floor plan that you want to use.
So if you go to the PDO office, I have a copy of it here.
Right.
As you walk in to the right side, it's already pretty much set up for customer service. They have a window for customers to come up, and then the two adjacent offices, if I remember correctly, were empty. So that includes the customer service office with a big enough closet for storage, plus two additional offices for myself and the other DR. Appeared to be empty. The customer service office that's being utilized now is only utilized for meetings, but we feel that with talking to the PDO office, they can probably use another office on the other side of the hall that's not being utilized to accommodate that meeting space.
Let me make sure that I understand our directions. There's the eastern entrance into
They're Earl Garrett.
Docket. Okay. So you're talking about going in that eastern entrance and opposite
To the right, directly
north
to the
side
right.
of the hallway.
Correct. To the right.
I'm a direction guy. East and west, north and south.
So north side of the building on the Earl Garrett entrance.
It goes from about halfway.
Yeah, first office on the right, and then the next three, which are in that little section before you get to the main doorway that cuts the building in half. So I can show you the diagram.
What I would need from you is get a copy of that.
Okay, I can show
so that I can show that to Judge Lutz.
Okay.
Since Medina County is the fiscal agent for the PDO.
But that will adequately serve what we need, and it's already constructed for how we need it. And it will.
We just need to work it out with the PDO.
The only issue is, and I'm not sure if Lutz said it, Dr. John Bull, is security and access and being able to.
And that's where we would adjust our operations by appointment only until we can fully get operational with what the PDO is doing. And then with that, I also recommend to construct secure access for them on the upper floor because the access to the upper floor is the stairwell, and they have the doorways on the second floor that can be made to have entry access.
So there have to be certain modifications.
Modifications to the building.
But what we need to do right now is to secure an agreement for partial use of the
Well, between that conversation, your conversation, we should be able to make a decision at our next meeting.
Sounds good. So we'll pass on that for the time being? Okay. We're working on it, Tracy. We're working on it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Item 1.12, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding funding of the volunteer first responder program. Mr. Board.
This is something that we talked about before. There was money in the account set aside, and I was surprised to even find out about this program and did a little investigation and found out that there really isn't a program. So I'd like to just dissolve it and put the money in the general fund. There's not any body that's signed up for this.
How much money do we have?
Commissioner, that's not what I told we have quite a few. How many do we have, Russ?
I don't remember the count, but we do have
There are,
several.
let me stop you. There are people that are enrolled that have not been participating in years. So there were names, the few I found that could actually talk to had moved, some of them. Some of them had not been called out in years. I don't think you found anybody active, did you?
I actually have received a newer list of the people that have been active and are active. And I've received 4 applications. One of them I have sent to go get tested. I talk better over there. I worked a lot better over there. I have talked to the auditor's office and found where I can start doing some of their drug testing, where it was coming out before, and I'm getting it all rolling again.
Okay.
So they do have a new listing of applicants that are on it, and I have, like I said, 4 people that are going through the process now.
Well, then allow me to suggest that we pass on this at this time.
Yeah.
Y'all get us more information and we can put it back on the agenda when we know more.
Well, my concern was just to put the money back in the general fund if we weren't using it.
Right. So let's run this around and see where we are.
Okay.
Rosa,
Make a knowledgeable decision.
can you maybe keep us updated as department head comments going forward so we can keep up to date on it?
Yes.
And it needs to be a good list because really I couldn't find anybody the last time. I called everybody on the list.
I do
It was
have
not a good list.
I do have a good active list right now.
Okay.
Okay. We'll pass that for the time being. Moving on, we'll go to item 1.22. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action for the Kerr County Sheriff's Office to submit an application to the Public Safety Office for the fiscal year 2024 Operation Lone Star Grant Program, along with any supporting documentation. Ms. Butler.
Good morning. As it states, I'm just here to get permission to submit this year coming up fiscal year 24's Operation Lone Star Grant Program on behalf of the KCSO. We did participate last year and they would like to participate again.
How much funding did we get, or will we get next year?
600.
We currently got 680,000. So this application allows us to go forward and we'll set a budget and then we'll receive the award for that.
Do you anticipate a similar amount?
Yeah, or even more. Or even more.
The last grant was primarily equipment. This one will also include continued or expanded investigative services as well as personnel.
Move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve KCSO's application for the Operation Lone Star Grant Program as presented. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item 1.23, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve justification for sole source procurement of products and services from Tactical Night Vision Company for tactical night vision devices, Super Game Model 2376, for the Operation Lone Star Grant of FY23 in accordance with the local government code.
Morning. We previously went, I know the sheriff did it earlier for the same company. They're just kind of a different, this is a secondary model for them. The first model were actually binocular types. These are monocular night vision ones. This will increase our hands for patrol of the single monocular to get them out for night vision capability. But it's out of the current, it's for the current Operation Lone Star that we're working on for 23.
Well, and the big thing, as I understand it, Scott, is we have to establish the sole source, so we might put it up here.
Yes, sir. So that specific model, the Super Gain model 2376, is the sole vendor, which is the Tactical and Night Vision company. So
I'm looking at my grant people, looking at Noel and the boss. We good on this? Okay.
Scott, is this, who utilizes this? Is our special ops or?
Special response team, as well as this will out to our patrol, some of our patrol assets as well. So we've had some nighttime bailouts out in the rural area. So
sure.
The Super Gain model, what it is, it allows more ambient light to it. So especially out in those rural areas where it's super dark, we're able to get more ambient light. So it's pretty modern technology.
But what we're really deciding is you don't have to go out to bid because it's sole source.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to do a bid because it's sole source.
That's a big issue.
Yes, sir.
I'll move that we go ahead and approve the sole source procurement of products and services from Tactical Night Vision Company for Tactical Night Vision devices for the Operation Lone Star Grant fiscal year 2023.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second? Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 1.24, consider discussing and appropriate action to approve the First Amendment to the power license agreement for the power site made by and between Texas RSA 15B2 Limited Partnership, DBA, West Central Wireless, and the County of Kerr. Kerr.
Yes, sir. Looking for the court's approval to let the judge sign this lease agreement. Kind of let me update you on it. What it is, it's our comfort tower. This is with our Motorola project. There's currently a concrete building there that is owned by West Texas Wireless. Since they have since sold to Verizon, they're going to be vacating the building. We didn't know that during the bidding process for the Motorola project. In the project is allowed $100,000 for a new concrete building, a generator, and also a propane tank. So I can't tell you exactly what the savings. Obviously, we're able to work this out to where we don't need the new concrete building. We can use the existing concrete building, but we still need the generator and the propane tank. So where we're at is Motorola can't move in that until the judge signs this. Our lease is currently good until 2026. There's not going to be no rate increase at this time, but obviously Motorola can't move forward until they get this. You know, so our savings, I'll let the court know when our options come. I'm thinking, let's say it's $50,000. We could use, I don't think we're going to get any money back, but we would use it towards anything unforeseen, adding equipment, or towards the lease. We'll use it wisely over that. But that's basically what it is. Be able to go there. There's a building there that's going to vacate. We might as well just use it and not have to purchase a brand new.
It always sounded ridiculous to me, the amount they wanted to put one in there.
Oh, I think it doubled or tripled in the one, well, it's COVID. You know, COVID, it became a lot more expensive. But, you know, our equipment, so you know, is already out there, but it's in kind of like a metal type shed per se, 2 doors open. It is subject to the weather as far as heat and cold, but not anything held like that. And it does go in and out of it, but we're going to be putting additional equipment, so we're going to move it all into this shed with y'all's approval.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the power lease agreement as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. We're going to pass on item 126. Take it up with right. We'll move on to the approval agenda. So 2.1, budget amendments.
You have 9 budget amendments in front of you. Most of them are line item transfers. The third one down on the first page is for your information. This is the one that the 216 DA was referring to the other day. This is with her forfeiture fund. And she does have revenue that came in that was not budgeted that will cover that. the first of the next page, number 4879, it's the budget for the Operation Stone Garden. That is one of the grants that the sheriff's office received. The last one that you show on the third page, it is for our, now I'm pulling her and looking at her. This is for the health care that we have to pay for the indigent health care. And so this will max out their budget for the year, pretty much. And so we'll be having to look at what our options are moving forward from that. Last year, we had to do a line item transfer from the contingency fund in general fund into Fund 50 to cover the rest of the year. So this one's okay, just a heads up on that.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment as presented. Is there any discussion?
Well, just that if we did this last year and we're doing it again, should there be more in that line this year? Are we gonna accommodate that?
I haven't looked at the budget for Fund 50 as what was turned in for the next year, but we do need to take another look at it. We can get with Rosa and figure that out, and we'll present it at a budget workshop.
What's the, we'll talk about it in the budget.
Okay.
Move for approval of the budget.
I need to vote.
You see the vote.
We vote.
Oh, yeah, we have
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Okay. 2.2, pay bills.
Yes, invoices for today's consideration, $584,852.51.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve paying the bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Late bills.
Yes, today's invoices amount to $69,787.14. These are all indigent healthcare bills.
Pay the late bill.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to pay the late bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. 2.4, auditor reports.
They're not in.
Thank you. Item 2.5, monthly reports.
Yes. January, February, March 2023, as amended from District Clerk John Lance. For May 2023, Auditor's Report, Penny Shelton. County Clerk, Jackie Dowdy. Justice of the Peace, Precinct 4, Bill Ragsdale, as amended. Animal Control Services, Director Reagan Gibbons. And Indigent Service Report, HR Director Rosa Hernandez Sanchez. I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the monthly reports as presented. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. For the auditor's report, they actually filed that before the previous commissioner's court. It was my error that it was not on the sheet, so sorry about that, Tanya.
So, we're granting forgiveness.
Motion for that?
We
Very
haven't got it. We got a motion and a second.
Oh, forgiveness.
No. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Move on to information agenda, status reports.
Court orders.
Hey, so, get close to me.
Let's see.
Barn salad.
Court orders from our June 12th meeting, number 40023-40056. There was one typo in court order 40050. Item number was listed as item 1.13 and should have been listed as item 1.21. Correct. So with that change, I make motion to approve.
Second. Motion and second to approve court orders as revised and presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Now we'll move over to information agenda. 3.1, status report from department heads. 3.2, status reports from elected officials. Kerr.
Yes. Court, I know it's like beating a dead horse, and but I feel it's my duty to keep y'all advised of what's going on. It was a bad week at the sheriff's office last week. Had another dispatcher resign. That's 3 openings. We're at a critical point now in dispatch. Had another jailer give his notice. He'll be gone next week. Several positions there. Had another deputy patrol supervisor. He was nice. It's only good news. He gave us 2-month notice. He'll be leaving. We're getting to a critical point on patrol. In addition to that, this weekend we had a call in Ingram. Still 1 officer. Pretty major call. It's going to require a lot of follow-up. Where now my investigators are going to have to do that. It's putting us in a bind. Also, in addition to that, they had a major 1050 accident yesterday with no officer on duty. And we have to handle that. So at some point, we're going to have to get down to some business and make some decisions.
Sheriff, hold on a second. All that's critical, but where are we at with our deputies on patrol?
We're currently 5 down. Like I said, so in addition to that, what I tell you this weekend, when I said it was a bad weekend, we're funded for 6. Okay, right now with the openings, we can only have 5. Well, that puts us at about 4 to 5. In addition to that, we had this weekend during the same thing, we had a mental health transport that put us 3 deputies. That is completely unsafe. 3 deputies out there. We can't, you just can't do it. Can't get the calls. Which brings up, you talked about, the parking. We've talked about these crossings. I don't know how to tell you where to get to those calls. I listen to radio all the time. You know what I mean? And those are what I call non-priority calls. If we get to them, fine. If we don't, fine. We have to triage these calls and get to them. We will at some point, but that's not a priority. Thank you.
Okay. Any other elected officials? 3.3, status report from liaison commissioners. Any reports?
Just, we have the ESD number 3 meeting tonight, Center Point PFD.
Yeah, Hunt's number 4 is tonight as well.
That's it. Then we're going to recess for 5 minutes and transition into executive session. And we have a litigation update and a seal deal on the insurance property. Back to order. It is 12:05. We went into executive session at 11:54 for the record. The only action we had to take after executive session is item 4.3A, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to submit for publication the request for sealed bids for the sale of Kerr County property located at 500 Ranchero Road here in Kerr.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and submit for publication the request for sealed bids for the subject property.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? This is just a matter of form to do this. Folks, I'll take a vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And with that, court is adjourned.